screen printers, it's Ryan from RyanNet. In this screen printing tutorial video, we're going to show you setup and screen printing of a 4-color process job on this Riley Hopkins Jr. press. We're going to kind of walk through the whole thing. This press has actually never been printed on before, so this is actually going to be the whole setup of the Hopkins Jr. press. Hopkins Jr. press is a great entry-level press, even intermediate level. It's very solid, works just like the big Hopkins presses, but a nice, affordable, compact tabletop unit. So what we're doing here is setting up a 4-color process job. Now, 4-color process registration is extremely important. You can't be off because then your process colors won't mix together. It's all done wet on wet printing. Now, first we're going to go around and set the off contact and then register the print to itself. So I have a white test pellet. As soon as I set the off contact on the first plate, I'm going to go ahead and print that first plate, and then we'll go ahead and register to the second one. So I have a 9/16 wrench. You have your tilt and your off contact controls on your Riley Hopkins Jr. Very same place as the big Hopkins presses, also same spot as the silver presses. So if you notice there, I had a piece of cardboard. What that is called is an off contact or shim plate. That helps me level my press out. So as I'm getting this press set up for the first time, I don't have to tweak it with a T-square or rulers. I can just set it up one time. Once it levels that out, I can simply first tighten down my off contact tabs or my off contact control, and then my tilt control, which is the upper bolt behind the screen clamp. So once we got that set, we're going to go ahead, align this press first print to the center line in the design. We'll keep that for later. Make sure it's aligned. By aligning that, I'm actually not going to dial in the micro registration quite yet on the press. I'm going to simply take the screen clamp and then use that. Now keep in mind, your micros should always be centered. So if you're not setting this job up for the first time, you want to make sure that your micros are centered. That gives you forward and backwards movement. Right now, this is the first time I've ever used this press, so they should come centered from the factory. Everything's locked down, our off contact's already set. So we're going to register this CMYK job to the black, which is the most encompassing of the print as a whole. So we're going to do push on this print. We have our first color centered and everything ready to go there on the press. Now, I'm going to take my Clear Choice registration tape so that I can line the rest of the print to the first print, and that way, in case I make a mistake, I don't have to go ahead and take another test pellet out. I can actually just wipe this off, very similar to like a dry erase board, but for screen printing. So we place the Clear Choice over the print as a whole. And then to use Clear Choice, you just need a paper towel with some solvent in it, or basically some, one of those crazy clean wipes. Works really great as well. Now we're going to take our second print. First, we're going to set the off contact for the head. So the head needs to be clamped in to set the off contact, so I clamp the head in. Then I'll take my 9/16 wrench out, and we'll set the off contact on this. Once again, this goes pretty quickly, and once the off contact is set the first time, you typically don't have to mess with it a lot moving forward. So the Riley Hopkins Jr. press is very, very nice to set up. I think it's a lot nicer than our older silver presses because the components on the press are much heavier duty, and they actually move easier together because they're more industrial. So we're setting that, making sure that it's tilted correctly. I'm verifying that down in the down position. And then the first thing that we do is I always set the print up initially to the screen clamp. So I look at the screen clamp, I set the print up to itself, and I can see the print kind of aligning down there. And then once I'm close, what I then do is I lock it in. So now it's time to use those micro registration. Now I'll have to be honest with you, I'm actually a fan of the joystick registration. So the difference in your joystick is you have free range of motion in the joystick that gives you 360-degree range of movement, versus the micro where you have an X and a Y axis. So you can move the screen forward and back or side to side. And it doesn't move straight forward and back. You have to move these at the same time. But it does give you a lot more precision because it really allows you to dial this in. So I'm out of registration here, but if I move the micro over a little bit, I lock it into registration very quickly and easily. Once you're in register, lock down the micros so it does not move. With this 4-color process print, we're going to flood up and then print back. Now we'll lift and we'll check out our registration. Everything looks really good with that. So now on to the next color. Before we go to the next screen, we use the clear choice film by wiping it off and then drying it off. And now we'll go ahead and set the next screen up on the Hopkins Junior. So come on over here. Remember, we're doing everything on the setup. So off contact, we're probably not going to show this in every single clip, but we're going to do our off contact, which we're using our off contact plate for to level things out automatically, and then our tilt, and then we'll micro it in. One thing to notice as you're setting this press up is you need to make sure that the screen is pressed all the way down in the registration gate. If it's left to sit up a little bit, your off contact and your tilt won't settle down. So you want to make sure that you press it down as you're setting your off contact and your tilt. The way CMYK is printed is light to dark, so that is yellow, magenta, cyan, and then our last color is black. So we're actually setting this up kind of in the correct order, though we set up to black because that's, once again, our most encompassing and easier to see color through the screen. There we go. Lock it down. Flood up. Print back. Perfect. All right, first we set our off contact. Once our off contact is set, now we'll come dial that in. We'll get the print very close just by the screen clamp and then do our last micro. All right, so we'll make our final tweak to the left a little bit, or to the right, excuse me. Then lock that back down and we'll see if we're ready to go for our final. All right, everything looks really good there. All right, now we're going to go ahead and print this all the way around, taking the clear choice off, starting with the yellow and then moving all the way light to dark. Now we're probably going to start with 2 passes of each just to get the ink flowing. You never want to print 4-color process right out of the gate unless you've already printed the screens before. So 2 passes is a good way to get the ink flowing through the mesh. Then you also want to confirm that on a t-shirt. Test pen is going to hold ink much different than it will on a t-shirt. So everything is looking very good so far. It's coming out nicely. And then we'll finish up with black. Now we already have 1 pass of black down, so we're just going to finish up with 1 pass there. And there is our 4-color process print. So all the colors mixed together nicely. We're in great registration. Time to take that to press and let's print a shirt. Our shirt's loaded, so once again we're starting with our light color. And we're going to do 2 passes of each, going all the way down magenta. We flood up, and print back. Cyan. Now cyan was coming out really heavy, so we're going to take that down to 1 pass. And then our black. Once again, black also very heavy. Take that down to 1 pass. And there's our final CMYK print on a t-shirt using the Riley Hopkins Junior press. You got to see the whole setup and registration process, taking the press essentially out of the box, registering, setting the off contact, and then printing our first job with it. Check out the Riley Hopkins Junior and all other screen printing supplies and videos available on screenprinting.com and our YouTube channel. Thanks a lot for watching.